Okay, so we're learning this holy sefer Devorah, beautiful, very kedai, about how to live in Hashem's footsteps. We are up to Chesed LaAvraham, Middah Yud Aleph, the 11th Middah, kindness to Avram. Those who go beyond the boundaries of their obligation, as did Avram Avinu, Hashem also treats them beyond the boundaries of the law. Hashem does not exact from them the full extent of his justice, even in the correct way. Student Hebrew. Heim hamisnagim ba'olam lifnim mishuras hadin k'Avram Avinu. Gam HaKadosh Baruch Hu misnag imahem lifnim mishuras hadin. Einoi mamid imayim hadin al tokfoi af loy b'derech hayosheh. There's a derech hayosheh. You do the crime, you do the time. That's the way it goes, right? And everybody, especially now, in these days before Shoshana, in Kippur, what happens? You did an Avera, you did the crime, you got to do the time. But there's a way out. But Hashem is not going to treat you exactly according to the extent of the law, even though that's the just way. Which we all want. He treats them even better than that, as they themselves behave. V'hainu chesed LaAvram. This is the midah of chesed LaAvram. HaKadosh Baruch Hu misnayig b'midas hachesed im oisam shehem kemoi Avram b'hanhagasam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts with benevolence, kindness, mercy towards those who are like Avram in their behavior to other people. Gam ha'adam, so to us. Im hayoshim kol adam yeh misnayig b'tzedek v'yoshev b'mishpat. He should be righteous, correct, and just in his dealings with all people. But he should go beyond the boundaries of the law with those who are good and pious. If he is slightly patient with other people, then with these people he should be much more so. He should have mercy on them. He should go beyond the dictates of justice with which he acts towards others. These people should be very esteemed and beloved to him. Chashuvim ma'od lefanav. Chashuvim lefanav ma'od ma'od mechavivim loy. And be among his companions. V'hem yu me'anshe chevrasa. Definition of the attribute. Acting with great mercy and friendliness towards kind people. When we act with special kindness and consideration towards those whom we know to be especially kind and giving, and treat them with greater mercy, patience, and forgiveness than we would treat regular people, we awaken Hashem's merciful attribute of kindness to Avram, Chesed LaAvram, bringing that element of mercy into the world. The way little me, little you, we behave, it opens a tzina or a pipe in Shemayim, and Hashem adds to the whole world this element of mercy that we need so much. Practical example. The Sachs family were sitting together for the Shabbos meal. Suddenly, their son Naftali, who sat next to the window, felt a drop of water splash onto his face. "Hey, I got wet," he said. "Is it raining or something?" asked his father. "That's unusual for this season." Rabbi Sachs went up to the window and looked outside. He too felt a drop of water fall out of the clear blue sky. He looked up and quickly saw the cause. The air conditioner of the Grosses, their upstairs neighbor, was dripping onto their windowsill, from which it splashed into their home. "Let's put a bucket on the windowsill to catch the water," suggested Naftali. "No, don't do that," said the father. "Water that drips from an air conditioner is noilid, it's a kind of muktzah. Since it did not exist before Shabbos, putting a bucket under it would be considered bittul kli mechanoi, nullifying an object from its use, since the bucket would have to remain in place with its muktzah contents for the rest of Shabbos. For now, just close the window." Naftali closed the window, and the dripping water continued to splash from the dirty sill onto the clean window. After Shabbos, they put a bucket at the windowsill to catch the drip. From then on, the bucket became part of the view outside the Sachs window, catching the water that continued to drip from the Grosses air conditioner upstairs. Mrs. Sachs was bothered by it more than anyone else, of course. She had often thought of moving the bucket, but each time she tried, she got a splash of dripping water in its place. "Why don't you speak to Mrs. Gross?" she asked her husband. "Tell him to attach a drainage hose to his air conditioner, and we'll be done with this bucket once and for all. Yes, of course you're right. I was actually meaning to talk to him about it. But, you see, I don't want to bother him. He's so busy, you know. He runs a big charity organization that helps people. He hardly has time to breathe. More than once I passed by him while he was talking to a sick person on his cell phone. I did not want to disturb him. You should hear how he encourages them, how much he helps them. He's such a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to harm our friendship. Do you think asking him to attach a drainage hose would really harm your friendship? No, of course not, he answered. It's not an insult at all. I just thought that with such a good and kind person who devotes himself so wholeheartedly to others, we should be especially considerate. You know, they don't have much money, and Rabbi Sachs saw that there was a limit to how much his wife could endure. The bucket on the windowsill and the dripping water were a real nuisance to her. He would have to ask Mr. Gross to fix the dripping air conditioner. He had no doubt that it was right according to halacha. A person with a dripping air conditioner is responsible for fixing it so that at least it will drip into the garden and not into his neighbor's window. Rabbi Sachs decided to go to the hardware store himself to buy a hose for the air conditioner. He brought with him the receipt for Mr. Gross to pay. The next day, he gave the hose to Mr. Gross and explained the situation with the dripping air conditioner. They were both in a rush and they didn't have much time to talk. In the meantime, Rabbi Sachs did not mention the receipt. It wasn't much, but still, according to halacha, Mr. Gross really should pay for it. A few days later, Rabbi Sachs and Mr. Gross met again. Rabbi Sachs really wanted to mention something about the receipt, but he refrained at the last moment. With such a kind person who was so devoted to helping others, how could he not be so forgiving? Thanks for attaching the hose so quickly, he said. Sure, said Mr. Gross. I didn't want my air conditioner to annoy you anymore. I'm sorry about the annoyance you had until now. They both left feeling good about their relationship. Through the hose he bought, the air conditioner's water flowed down into the garden, and through the pipeline of forgiveness he created, Hashem's blessing flowed down into the world. Source of the attribute. When people generally conduct their dealings with others by standards of what is right and fair, but then they go beyond the dictates of fairness when dealing with those who are especially kind and good, Hashem sees this and likewise shows a special degree of mercy towards those who are especially merciful.